This audiobook unveils the forgotten art of tuning your mind and spirit to the God frequency, the vibration of creation itself. Every thought you hold sends ripples through the cosmos. When you learn to align with this divine broadcast, the universe begins to move in harmony with your will. The God frequency. Introduction. In the beginning, before time took its first breath, there was only sound, pure vibration, alive with divine intelligence. From this eternal pulse, all creation unfolded. This sacred resonance, whispered through the ages as the God frequency, still sings through every atom, every heartbeat, and every thought you hold. The universe itself is a living symphony, an infinite broadcasting of divine energy. You are both the listener and the instrument, the receiver and the transmitter of this cosmic song. Every emotion you feel, every vision you dare to imagine, sends a signal across the unseen field of creation. The ancients knew this truth. Reality is not built from matter, but from vibration. The world you experience is a mirror, responding faithfully to the frequency you emit. Each thought is a command, each feeling a sacred code that instructs the universe how to move on your behalf. And though you may have forgotten, you have always been attuned to this divine wavelength. Those moments of intuition, synchronicity, or quiet knowing, when life seems to speak directly to your soul, are echoes of your natural harmony with the infinite. To awaken to the God frequency is to remember your creative origin. Prayer becomes vibration, desire becomes direction, and manifestation becomes effortless flow. This is not new wisdom, but the return of an ancient knowing, the language of light, the sound of Source itself, vibrating within you now. Before we get into the book, comment, "I am ready," to affirm your intention to the universe. Part 1. The Awakening Frequency. Chapter 1. The Whisper Within. In the mountains beyond the city there lived a painter named Mabel, whose canvases remained blank for months. Though skilled with brush and color, she found herself paralyzed by the need for perfection. One morning, as sunlight streamed through her studio window, she noticed how the light danced across her empty canvas. Instead of reaching for her usual reference photos, she closed her eyes and allowed her hand to move as it wished. Something shifted within her. Colors began speaking in whispers, guiding her movements with gentle certainty. When you open yourself to the universe's guidance, it speaks in the language most natural to your soul. For Mabel, it was color. For you, it might be words, music, or the quiet knowing that arrives in moments of stillness. The divine frequency perpetually broadcasts through the channel of your intuition, waiting for you to tune in. This inner compass doesn't demand grand gestures or complex rituals. It simply asks for your attention and trust. When you release the need to control every outcome, your natural connection to source energy strengthens. Like a radio finding its station, your consciousness automatically aligns with the frequency of creation. Years later, Mabel hosted her first gallery showing. Among her paintings hung one piece that drew crowds all evening, a canvas she'd created during a thunderstorm, when fear of the lightning had forced her to abandon conscious thought and surrender to pure feeling. The painting seemed to pulse with its own light, each brushstroke alive with energy that viewers could feel but couldn't explain. That night, Mabel understood. Her masterpiece emerged not from technique or planning, but from the moment she released all resistance and became a pure channel for creative force. The art that moved people most deeply came through her, not from her. This truth extends beyond art. It touches every aspect of life. The universe's guidance flows most clearly when you step out of your own way. Your natural state isn't disconnection, but divine communion. Sacred practice. Find a quiet space and settle into a comfortable position. For 5 minutes, focus solely on your breath, allowing thoughts to drift by like clouds. When your mind grows still, pose this simple question to the universe. What do you wish to express through me today? Stay open to whatever arises, an image, a feeling, a word, or simply a sense of knowing. Accept this guidance without analysis or doubt. This is your personal frequency, your direct line to divine wisdom. Chapter 2. The Song Behind the Noise. In the depths of your being lies a sacred rhythm, pulsing with the same force that moves mountains and orchestrates the dance of stars. This truth revealed itself through Clara, a violinist whose life in the bustling metropolis had become a cacophony of deadlines, traffic horns, and endless notifications. Each morning, she would rush to rehearsals, her violin case clutched tight, feeling increasingly disconnected from the music that once moved her soul. One particularly chaotic morning, as subway delays threatened her punctuality, Clara noticed something peculiar. Beneath the surface noise, the scraping of train wheels, the murmur of frustrated passengers, the mechanical announcements, there existed a subtle pattern. The rhythm of breath, the tap of feet, the distant rumble of trains, all pulsed in an intricate symphony she had never before perceived. This awareness transformed her experience. The chaos remained, yet Clara now understood it as instruments in a greater orchestra. She began to recognize that the universe speaks not in singular notes, but in layers of harmony that require a tuned heart to perceive. Through daily observation, she discovered that life's discord often stems not from external chaos, but from our resistance to its natural flow. When thoughts scatter like leaves in autumn wind, the divine broadcast becomes static, not because it ceases to transmit, but because we have lost our center of reception. In the weeks that followed, Clara found herself in the practice room, struggling with a particularly challenging concerto. Frustration mounted until she remembered the subway's lesson. Placing her bow upon the strings, she synchronized her breath with each stroke. As her breathing steadied, the music transformed. Notes that had fought against each other now flowed as naturally as a stream finding its path downstream. The universe maintains its broadcast perpetually, through triumph and tragedy, through noise and silence. Your role is not to create the harmony, but to align yourself with what already exists. Like Clara, you'll discover that chaos often conceals order, and what appears as noise frequently masks the most beautiful melodies. Each morning before the world wakes, attune yourself to life's subtle symphony. Let your heartbeat be your metronome, the distant bird songs your orchestra. Feel gratitude surge through you for your role in this grand composition. Whisper with conviction, I am in perfect harmony with the universe. As days pass, you'll notice life's events beginning to dance to your melody, revealing that spiritual alignment is nothing more than well-tuned awareness. Practice this. In the quiet moments before dawn, before movement or speech, Become aware of the sounds surrounding you. Your heartbeat's steady rhythm, the subtle hums of early morning, the first notes of waking birds. Let gratitude fill you for your place in this universal symphony. Speak softly, but with certainty. I am in perfect harmony with the universe. Within weeks, you'll witness life's events aligning with your inner music, showing that spiritual attunement is simply a matter of refined awareness. Chapter 3. The Pulse of Belief. Among the narrow streets of an ancient city, a timepiece maker named Eli tended his workshop with meticulous care. His reputation for fixing the unfixable drew patrons from distant lands, yet lately his hands had lost their surety. Each mechanism he touched seemed to resist his adjustments, as though the very springs sensed his wavering confidence. The universe speaks through synchronized moments, and you too have felt this truth. Like Eli's clockwork, your beliefs wind the springs of reality, setting the pace at which your desires manifest. When doubt creeps in, the cosmic gears turn sluggishly. When faith flows pure, time itself seems to bend to your advantage. Your consciousness operates as a master timekeeper. Each thought you hold wins the mainspring of creation, determining whether your manifestations arrive with precise timing or lag behind in endless delays. The universe responds not to the face you show the world, but to the inner mechanism of your deepest convictions. This truth crystallized for Eli when a nobleman brought him a priceless family heirloom, a clock that had marked his family's fortunes for generations. The timepiece's intricate workings had baffled every craftsman who attempted its repair. For days, Eli studied the clock, his hands hovering above its delicate parts, doubt whispering that this task exceeded his skills. Then one morning, awakening from a dream where he had seen the clock's inner workings with perfect clarity, Eli understood. His belief in failure had been the only barrier. With renewed conviction, he approached the clock again. This time, his hands moved with certainty, guided by an inner knowing that transcended mere technical skill. Within hours, the ancient timepiece chimed again, its voice clear and true. Just as Eli discovered, your beliefs are frequency codes broadcasting to the universe. Each doubt scrambles your signal. Each conviction clarifies your transmission. The universe matches your inner certainty with outer circumstances, orchestrating events to align with your deepest beliefs. The practice. Take a blank page and write one belief that empowers you and one that limits you. Speak the empowering belief aloud while feeling deep gratitude, letting its truth resonate in your chest. Then consciously release the limiting belief through a deep, cleansing exhale. This simple act reprograms your energetic circuit, realigning you with divine timing where faith and manifestation strike the same hour, perfectly synchronized with the God frequency. Chapter 4. Light Between Thoughts. In the hushed halls of an ancient library, Hazel moved among towering shelves filled with countless volumes. Day after day she organized knowledge, always searching for answers in the printed words before her. Yet the most precious wisdom remained elusive, hiding not in the chapters she tended, but in the quiet moments between her thoughts. When seekers asked for guidance, she would direct them to specific texts, carefully chosen resources that might illuminate their path. But within herself, a growing awareness took root. The truest answers arose not from external sources, but from the silent spaces where divine wisdom naturally flows. The universal intelligence speaks in whispers, not shouts. Like sunlight streaming through stained glass, its messages color your consciousness most vividly when your mind grows still. Every answer you seek already exists within the vast library of your soul, waiting in the silence between your thoughts. One morning, while organizing ancient manuscripts, Hazel encountered a puzzling text written in an unfamiliar script. For hours she consulted reference books and translation guides, growing increasingly frustrated. It wasn't until she sat back, releasing her grip on the problem, that understanding dawned. In that moment of surrender, the meaning revealed itself with perfect clarity, not through scholarly analysis, but through intuitive knowing. This revelation marks a fundamental truth. Divine guidance flows most freely when you cease striving to grasp it. The universe's wisdom cannot be forced or hurried. It unfolds naturally in the spaces where your mental chatter subsides. Like a lake that must be still to reflect the stars, your mind must quiet to mirror cosmic intelligence. The human mind, by habit, fills every moment with thought. Yet wisdom, true wisdom, resides in the pauses, the sacred intervals between one thought and the next. These moments of pure awareness are your direct line to universal intelligence. They are the channels through which divine inspiration flows, unobstructed by the static of endless thinking. Hazel's experience reminds you that answers emerge most clearly when you stop searching so intently for them. The divine speaks in the language of silence, and your inner knowing translates this silence into understanding. Trust in these quiet moments. They are not empty voids, but pregnant possibilities where universal wisdom takes form. The practice. Close your eyes, place a hand on your heart, and breathe slowly until stillness expands. When a peaceful warmth arises, understand this as the silent beam of divine communication, the luminous space between one thought and the next. Chapter 5. The Bridge of Feeling. Long before modern instruments measured the electromagnetic field of the human heart, an engineer named Ruth worked tirelessly in her laboratory, seeking to understand the invisible forces that shaped reality. Each morning she would arrive precisely at 7, meticulously recording data and analyzing patterns, convinced that logic alone would unveil the universe's deepest mysteries. One autumn day, while calibrating her instruments, Ruth noticed something peculiar. The readings fluctuated wildly whenever she thought of her daughter's upcoming wedding. At first, she dismissed these variations as equipment malfunction. Yet as weeks passed, she observed that her moments of genuine excitement coincided with unexpected breakthroughs in her research. The universe operates through feeling, not thinking. Your emotions generate electromagnetic waves far more powerful than your thoughts alone. When you understand this truth, you begin to grasp why some desires manifest swiftly, while others remain trapped in mental loops. Your heart is not merely a physical pump. It is a sophisticated broadcasting station, transmitting signals that the universe receives and mirrors back to you. Consider how quickly reality shifts when you're genuinely excited. Notice how synchronicities multiply when you're filled with authentic joy. This is no coincidence. Your emotional state creates a vibrational blueprint that the universe follows with perfect precision. When you think of what you want while feeling neutral, you send a weak signal. But when you combine thought with pure positive emotion, you create an unstoppable force of manifestation. Ruth's transformation deepened when she faced a critical decision about a new research project. Instead of creating her usual detailed pros and cons list, she sat quietly and noticed how each option felt in her heart. The project that sparked genuine enthusiasm seemed illogical. It offered less funding and prestige. Yet following this emotional compass led her to discoveries that transformed her field. This simple shift, from thinking to feeling, altered everything. Within months, her laboratory became known for breakthrough innovations that seemed to arise effortlessly. Colleagues marveled at her intuitive genius, unaware that she had simply learned to trust the intelligence of her heart over the calculations of her mind. Your heart knows what your mind cannot comprehend. It speaks the language of the universe, pure feeling. When you allow emotion to guide you, you align with the God frequency naturally, without effort or strain. Your task is not to think your way to success, but to feel your way into alignment with what you desire. The practice. Recall a recent joyful memory until it fills every sense. Declare, "This is my frequency." Stand or sit quietly and let its vibration radiate outward. The universe responds instantly, echoing your emotion in form. Chapter 6. Aligning with the Infinite. In a small village among rolling hills, Otis tended his garden with quiet devotion. Each morning, as the sun painted the sky in gentle hues, he would walk among his plants, touching each leaf with tender reverence. What made his garden unique was not the varieties he grew, but the love he poured into every interaction. As you align with the frequencies of creation, you'll discover that blessing becomes as natural as breathing. Otis understood this truth not through study, but through pure experience. His vegetables grew larger, his flowers bloomed longer, and his fruit trees bore sweeter harvest than any others in the region. The secret lay not in his technique, but in his heart's song. Every time Otis planted a seed, he would whisper, "May you grow in grace." When he watered his plants, his thoughts formed silent prayers of gratitude. Even pulling weeds became an act of blessing, as he thanked them for making space for new growth. The universe responded to his frequency of appreciation by amplifying the life force in everything he touched. The law of vibration teaches that everything in existence holds a specific frequency. When you bless something, you raise its vibration to match the highest possibilities within it. Criticism, judgment, and resentment create dissonance that blocks the natural flow of life force. Your words and thoughts are seeds that take root in the fertile soil of universal consciousness. In time, news spread of Otis's extraordinary garden. A wealthy landowner brought him to restore a patch of barren earth that had resisted all attempts at cultivation. Others had analyzed soil samples and applied expensive treatments, but nothing worked. Otis spent his first day simply sitting with the land, offering gratitude for its potential. Each morning, he walked the perimeter, blessing the soil and visualizing abundance. Within a season, green shoots emerged from ground others had declared dead. The message rings clear. Gratitude is not merely a response to abundance. It is the very frequency that calls abundance forth. Like Otis, you hold the power to transform your reality through the simple act of blessing. Every circumstance, no matter how challenging, contains seeds of possibility waiting to be awakened by your appreciation. The practice. Each time you touch objects, softly bless them. Whisper thankfulness. This turns every gesture into a tuning fork resonating with divine generosity. Let this blessing extend to everything: the chair that supports you, the food that nourishes you, the challenges that strengthen you. Watch as your world begins to vibrate with newfound grace, reflecting back the frequency of your gratitude. Chapter 7. The Language of Symbols. Among ancient mountain paths walked Pearl, a teacher whose heart yearned to understand the whispers of the universe. Each night her dreams wove tapestries of recurring symbols, silver feathers drifting from unseen heights, ornate clocks marking mystical hours, and golden keys that seemed to unlock invisible doors. At first she dismissed these images as mere fragments of an active mind. Yet the universe speaks in patterns, and what flows through your dreams often manifests in your waking hours. Soon, Pearl began noticing these same symbols in her daily life. A feather would spiral down before her feet as she pondered a career change. An antique clock would catch her eye precisely when contemplating an important decision. Brass keys would appear in unexpected places whenever she felt lost. The language of the divine flows through symbols because they bypass the mind's resistance and speak directly to your soul. These sacred signs are not random. They are precisely calibrated to your unique spiritual frequency. What speaks to you may appear meaningless to another, for the universe knows your personal dialect of wonder. Pearl's understanding deepened when she faced a pivotal choice about moving to a distant city. That morning, she discovered a feather on her doorstep, noticed her classroom clock had stopped at exactly 11:11, and found an old key in her grandmother's journal, all within an hour. Instead of dismissing these synchronized events, she allowed their meaning to resonate within her heart. This is how the divine guides you, not through thunderous proclamation, but through gentle persistence. Every symbol carries a frequency that harmonizes with your deeper knowing. When you attune to these messages, life becomes a sacred conversation between your consciousness and the infinite. Pearl embraced this celestial dialogue. Following these divine breadcrumbs led her to opportunities that aligned perfectly with her soul's purpose. Her life transformed not because the signs predicted her future, but because they confirmed she was in harmony with her highest path. Each synchronicity you encounter is a note in the universe's symphony, played specifically for your ears. These signs don't foretell your destiny. They confirm you're dancing to the right rhythm. Practice. As you lay down to rest, whisper your request to the universe. Show me a sign that will guide my path. Upon waking, observe the first pattern that draws your attention. It might be a number sequence, a recurring animal, or a persistent thought. Don't analyze. Feel its resonance. This is your personal frequency of divine communication, a sacred thread in the tapestry of universal wisdom. Chapter 8. Seeing with the Heart. Along ancient mountain paths walked Pearl, a teacher yearning for divine guidance. Each night her dreams wove tapestries of recurring symbols, silver feathers drifting from unseen heights, ornate clocks marking mystical hours, and golden keys that seemed to unlock invisible doors. At first, she dismissed these images as mere fragments of an active mind. Yet the universe speaks in patterns, and what flows through dreams often manifests in waking hours. When Pearl began noticing these same symbols in her daily life, she understood a deeper conversation was unfolding. A feather would spiral down before her feet as she pondered a career change. An antique clock would catch her eye precisely when contemplating an important decision. Brass keys would appear in unexpected places whenever she felt lost. The language of the divine flows through symbols because they bypass the mind's resistance and speak directly to your soul. These signs are not random. They are the universe's alphabet, carefully chosen for your unique understanding. Just as each culture developed its own written language, your soul has developed its own symbolic vocabulary with the divine. Pearl discovered that by paying attention to these recurring symbols, she could navigate life's crossroads with greater clarity. A white feather floating past her window became a sign of divine protection. The sudden chiming of a clock reminded her to trust divine timing. Finding an old key in her garden signaled the unlocking of new possibilities. One autumn morning, Pearl faced a life-altering choice, whether to leave her secure teaching position to open her own spiritual learning center. That day, she encountered all three symbols: a feather on her doorstep, a stopped clock suddenly beginning to tick, and a mysterious key left in her mailbox. Understanding these as confirmation rather than coincidence, she made her bold choice. Within months, her center became a sanctuary of transformation for others seeking their own divine dialogue. The symbols in your life are not predictions of the future. They are resonant frequencies aligning you with your highest path. They appear as gentle nudges, cosmic winks, and subtle reminders that you are in constant communion with the universe. Sacred practice. As you prepare for sleep tonight, whisper this request to the universe: show me a sign that will guide my next step. Upon waking, observe the first pattern, image, or symbol that draws your attention. It might be a number sequence, an animal appearance, or a recurring shape. Let its meaning unfold naturally within your heart. Trust this as your personal conversation with the divine, a message crafted specifically for your soul's understanding. Chapter 9. The Echo of Intention. In a modest recording studio between city shadows and starlight, Floyd adjusted his equipment with practiced precision. For years he had captured the voices of others, but now he sought to record something far more elusive: the frequency of faith itself. Through countless sessions with musicians, Floyd noticed how certain voices seemed to carry healing properties, not through their technical perfection, but through the intention behind each note. This observation led him to an extraordinary experiment with the power of spoken affirmations. Every morning before sunrise, Floyd would enter his studio, close his eyes, and speak words of gratitude into the microphone. I am blessed beyond measure. The universe flows through me with infinite abundance. He recorded these declarations not with the polished voice of a professional, but with the raw authenticity of a soul in communion with truth. The universe operates through vibration. Each thought, word, and feeling creates ripples in the cosmic field. When you speak with conscious intention, you're not merely making sound. You're broadcasting a frequency that the universe must answer. Your voice becomes an instrument of creation, turning air into reality through the power of focused emotion. Floyd discovered that playing back these recordings throughout his day transformed his environment. Clients began reporting unusual experiences, breakthrough performances, spontaneous healing, unexpected opportunities. One day, a singer arrived, her voice broken from grief. Instead of technical coaching, Floyd simply played her his morning gratitude recordings. As the affirmations filled the space, tears streamed down her face. By session's end, her voice had returned, carrying new depth and power. This revelation shows that words spoken with love create tangible change in the physical world. When you align your speech with divine truth, you become a living transmitter of healing frequency. Each syllable carries the potential to mend, uplift, and transform. The practice. Find a quiet space and record yourself speaking these words with deep feeling. I am grateful for the infinite blessings flowing through my life. Everything I touch is blessed. Everyone I meet is blessed. I am an instrument of divine love. Play this recording daily, especially during your morning routine. Let the vibration of your own voice, charged with positive intention, reshape your energetic field until these truths become your natural frequency. The power lies not in the words themselves, but in the loving intention behind them. Your voice, when used consciously, becomes a bridge between thought and manifestation, the very echo of creation itself. Chapter 10. The Mirror Law. In an ancient marketplace where aromas of spices mingled with morning mist stood a small cafe owned by Edith. Each dawn, as she unlocked the heavy wooden door, she noticed a peculiar pattern. Her establishment seemed to breathe with her own emotions. On days when worry clouded her mind, customers entered with furrowed brows, speaking in hushed, anxious tones. Their coffee grew cold as they shared their troubles, and the very air seemed to thicken with concern. Yet when joy filled Edith's heart, the cafe transformed. Laughter bubbled like fresh spring water, strangers became friends, and even the simplest cup of tea sparked delight in those who sipped it. The universe operates as a perfect mirror, reflecting back precisely what you project. Your inner state broadcasts a frequency that shapes the world around you. This is not metaphor, but cosmic law. As within, so without. The external world cannot help but echo your internal vibration, for you are the transmitter of your own experience. When you understand this principle, you hold the master key to transformation. Your consciousness becomes the artist's brush, painting reality with the colors of your dominant thoughts and feelings. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, cannot give you what you want. It can only give you what you are. In time, Edith discovered the power of this truth. She began each morning by lighting a candle and allowing genuine warmth to fill her heart. As she served each customer, she offered not just coffee, but a sincere smile that came from deep within. Soon, her small cafe became known as a sanctuary of peace. Business flourished not through marketing strategies, but through the magnetic power of authentic joy. Even during the busiest hours when lines stretched out the door, Edith maintained her inner radiance. Customers who arrived frustrated left refreshed, their day somehow brighter. The cafe's atmosphere shifted from merely pleasant to truly transformative, all because one person understood that external reality must mirror internal frequency. This simple truth reveals the mechanism of manifestation. Your outer world will always photograph your inner state with perfect accuracy. When you emanate peace, peace finds you. When you broadcast abundance, abundance responds. When you transmit love, love returns multiplied. The practice. Before any interaction, imagine golden light surrounding you. Whatever you send, peace, kindness, respect, returns multiplied. This ancient practice aligns you with the God frequency, allowing divine reflection to work through you naturally and effortlessly. Part 2. The Resonance of Creation. Chapter 11. The Field of Possibility. In a sterile laboratory filled with gleaming equipment, Milton stood transfixed before a remarkable sight. His particle detection instruments displayed patterns that defied conventional physics, patterns that shifted in perfect synchronicity with his emotional state. For years, Milton had dismissed meditation as unscientific until his research into quantum fields led him to an astonishing discovery. The deeper he ventured into the microscopic realm, the more he witnessed the invisible dance between consciousness and matter. His instruments revealed that focused intention could influence the behavior of particles in ways that traditional science struggled to explain. The universe speaks in the language of vibration. Every thought, every feeling, every intention carries a specific frequency that ripples through the quantum field. This field, the canvas upon which all reality is painted, responds not to wishful thinking, but to coherent emotional energy that maintains a steady, unwavering signal. When you align your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs into a single unified broadcast, you create what quantum physics calls a coherent state. This coherence acts as a tuning fork, causing the probability waves of potential realities to collapse into your desired experience. In his second breakthrough experiment, Milton faced a seemingly impossible challenge: stabilizing a volatile reaction that had failed hundreds of times before. Instead of forcing the outcome through conventional methods, he tried something radical. He maintained an unwavering inner certainty that the experiment would succeed. For hours, he held this frequency of absolute knowing, letting his consciousness dance with the quantum field. To his colleagues' amazement, the reaction stabilized perfectly. The universe operates with mathematical precision, yet that precision includes the influence of consciousness itself. Your awareness is not separate from the fabric of reality. It is an integral part of the cosmic equation. When you broadcast a clear, sustained frequency of certainty, the quantum field has no choice but to reflect that certainty back to you in physical form. The practice? Sit quietly and visualize luminous geometric patterns surrounding your body. Speaking with quiet authority, declare, "All possibilities exist. I tune to my chosen one." Breathe deeply as though your desired reality already vibrates within your chest. Feel its presence not as a future hope, but as a current frequency you're aligning with right now. Chapter 12. The Grace of Receiving. In a bustling community center, June moved like a tireless river, pouring herself into every task. Her hands mended torn books, packed food boxes, and wiped away children's tears. Yet when others reached out to help her, she withdrew like water receding from shore. The universal law reveals a profound truth. Life energy circulates in perfect balance. Just as your breath must flow both in and out, abundance moves in a sacred cycle of giving and receiving. When you block one direction, you inadvertently dam the entire stream. You exist within an infinite ocean of divine grace. This energy seeks expression through countless channels: a friend's offered assistance, a stranger's kind word, an unexpected gift. Each instance presents an opportunity to complete the circuit of blessing. When you consistently deflect these offerings, you unknowingly signal to the universe that you are closed to its flow. Consider the sun, which gives its light freely, yet also receives the earth's reflection. The moon pulls tides while being held in orbit. Even the smallest flower accepts rain to produce its fragrance. This is the natural order, an endless dance of energy moving through all things. In time, June noticed her constant giving had left her depleted. One morning, exhausted, she watched an elderly woman tend the center's garden. Each day, this woman received sunlight, soil, and rain with pure joy, transforming them into flowers that blessed all who passed. In that moment, June understood. Receiving with grace multiplies the power to give. The wisdom lies not in choosing between giving or receiving, but in recognizing them as one movement. Your acceptance creates space for new blessings. Your willingness to receive sends ripples of possibility through the universe, activating dormant miracles. Think of yourself as a vessel through which divine energy flows. When you accept love, support, or abundance, you become a living channel for greater giving. This is not selfishness. It is sacred participation in the cosmic current of grace. The practice. When given compliments or kindness, breathe in, smile, and say, "I receive with love." The God frequency deepens wherever acceptance blooms. Chapter 13. The Magnetic Mind. A skilled mechanic named Benny stood in his workshop, puzzled by a peculiar pattern. Some repairs flowed with supernatural ease, parts appearing just when needed, solutions arising instantly. Other jobs, though similar, felt like wrestling with invisible forces. One evening, beneath the warm glow of his workbench lamp, truth whispered through oil-stained air. The universe operates through magnetic fields of intention, drawing toward you that which matches your focused thought. When your mind wanders between possibilities, so too does the energy meant to manifest your desire. The law works with precise engineering. Concentrated thought generates a vibrational blueprint that reality must follow. Just as electricity flows through the path of least resistance, universal forces align with clearly defined intentions. Your focused attention acts as the conductor, drawing circumstances, solutions, and resources into perfect arrangement. In the quiet hours before dawn, Benny began experimenting with this principle. Before touching any tool, he would sit quietly, projecting a crystal-clear image of the completed repair. Soon his workbench seemed to arrange itself, each wrench and socket appearing exactly when needed, as if guided by an unseen hand. One morning, faced with a particularly complex transmission, Benny held steady focus on success. Rather than scattered thoughts about potential problems, he maintained unwavering vision of smooth operation. Within hours, the repair revealed itself step by step, parts and solutions flowing as naturally as breath. This was no coincidence. The universal law states that sustained mental pictures become physical reality through the magnetism of focus. Like a laser cutting through fog, concentrated thought burns away confusion, leaving only the path to manifestation. You already possess this magnetic power. Every triumph in your life began as a focused thought, even if you weren't conscious of the process. Now, understanding this law, you can deliberately harness the attractive force of your attention. The practice. Find a quiet space and close your eyes. For exactly 3 minutes, visualize your next goal as already accomplished. See every detail, the colors, textures, sounds, and most importantly, feel the deep satisfaction of completion. Let this feeling saturate every cell of your being. This isn't daydreaming, it's programming the magnetic field of manifestation. The universe responds not to the length of focus, but to its clarity and emotional intensity. Practice this daily and watch as physical reality aligns with your inner blueprint. Before we get into the next chapter, you can download a free ebook version of this audiobook using the link in the pinned comment below this video. Chapter 14. The Frequency of Forgiveness. In a bustling hospital corridor, a nurse named Lottie moved through her duties with mechanical precision. Though her hands brought healing, her heart carried shadows, old wounds that dimmed her natural radiance. Each time certain memories surfaced, her energy field contracted, creating static in her connection to universal flow. Like a radio caught between stations, Lottie's spiritual broadcast struggled through interference generated by past hurts. The universe's endless stream of abundance and guidance could not fully reach her through the dense fog of resentment she maintained. This truth echoes through ages. Forgiveness is not a gift you give another. It is the key that unlocks your own prison. When you hold bitterness, you create resistance in your energetic circuitry. This resistance blocks the pure current of universal love from flowing through you, much like calcified pipes restrict water's natural flow. Healing arrives through understanding that each soul moves through life at different levels of awareness. Those who caused pain acted from their own limitations, their own static-filled frequencies. Your freedom lies not in their actions, but in your choice to release the heavy energy of judgment. One quiet evening, while tending to an elderly patient, Lottie recognized her own mother's face in the woman's features. This same woman had once caused Lottie deep professional embarrassment through a misunderstanding. Yet here she lay, vulnerable and seeking comfort. As Lottie adjusted her pillow with gentle hands, something shifted within her heart. In that moment of extending compassion, Lottie felt decades of accumulated resentment begin to dissolve. The simple act of offering kindness to someone who had hurt her created an opening through which divine light could shine. As forgiveness flowed through her being, her entire energy field brightened, and she felt lighter than she had in years. Through this experience, Lottie discovered that forgiveness acts as a master reset button for your spiritual circuitry. When you release others from the prison of your judgment, you free yourself to receive the universe's highest frequencies. The moment you choose love over resentment, divine grace floods every cell of your being. The practice. Find a quiet space and close your eyes. Whisper the name of someone you choose to forgive. As you speak their name, imagine them surrounded by healing light. Notice the sensation of spaciousness replacing the heaviness in your heart. This lightness signals your realignment with the frequency of divine love. Your reconnection to Source strengthens with each breath of forgiveness. Chapter 15. The Art of Letting Go. A writer named Clyde sat before his manuscript, gripping his pen so tightly his knuckles whitened. Each word he wrote he immediately questioned. Each sentence birthed anxiety about reception, success, and timing. The more he grasped at perfection, the more his creativity withered. Within your own journey lies this eternal wisdom. That which you clutch most desperately slips away fastest. The universal flow operates through open channels, not clenched fists. When you squeeze water, it escapes through your fingers. When you cup your hands gently, it pools naturally. The art of manifestation requires this sacred balance, action aligned with acceptance. Your role is to plant the seed. The universe's role is to determine how it grows. This natural law reveals itself in every breath you take. You inhale with intention, yet you never force the air. You simply allow it to flow, trusting in the wisdom of your body. Clyde's breakthrough arrived unexpectedly. After months of struggling, he found his manuscript ruined by a spilled cup of tea. In that moment of apparent disaster, something within him surrendered. He began again, this time writing without attachment, allowing words to flow like water. His book completed itself almost effortlessly, better than he had imagined. This truth illuminates your path. Release is not resignation. It is cooperation with divine timing. When you loosen your grip on outcomes, you free the universe to orchestrate circumstances beyond your limited view. Your desires are heard the moment you conceive them. Your task is not to direct their fulfillment, but to maintain the frequency of trust that allows them to materialize. Watch how nature demonstrates this principle. A flower doesn't strain to bloom. It simply grows in harmony with sun and season. The ocean doesn't fight its tides. It flows in perfect rhythm with the moon. Your creative force operates by the same law. Effort without attachment. Action without anxiety. The practice. Take your deepest wish and hold it in your hands. Feel its weight, its importance. Then, with complete faith, lift your hands skyward and declare, "I release this to divine order." Let your arms fall naturally to your sides and walk away with the lightness of knowing universal wisdom now guides your desire to its perfect fulfillment. Chapter 16. The Current of Joy. In a small village bakery where sunlight streamed through flour-dusted windows, Daisy kneaded dough with hands that danced to an inner melody. While other bakers followed recipes with stern precision, she added a sprinkle of laughter to every batch. As she worked, she hummed, twirled, and sometimes even told jokes to her sourdough starter. Those who passed by often heard gleeful giggles floating from her kitchen like the aroma of fresh bread. Your energy imprints itself upon everything you touch. Each thought, each feeling becomes an invisible ingredient in your creations. When you infuse your actions with joy, you activate the highest vibrational frequency, one that transforms ordinary moments into miracles. Daisy's customers would say, "There's something special in this bread." They couldn't name it, but they felt lighter after eating her pastries. Children begged for her cookies, claiming they could taste happiness. The truth was simple. Joy had become her secret ingredient, more potent than any spice or flavoring. Yet even Daisy faced challenges. When a new commercial bakery opened nearby, her sales declined sharply. Bills mounted and worry crept in like frost. But instead of succumbing to fear, she doubled down on delight. She began hosting Laugh While You Bake classes, teaching others to dance with their dough. She decorated her storefront with whimsical designs and gave away heart-shaped rolls with every purchase. The universe responds to emotional vibration more swiftly than to action alone. Within weeks, Daisy's Bakery became known as the happy place in town. Customers returned not just for bread, but for the infectious joy that filled every corner. Her small shop transformed into a gathering place where strangers became friends over shared laughter and warm rolls. This simple truth echoes through the ages. Joy multiplies whatever it touches. When you raise your frequency through genuine happiness, you activate an ancient law of multiplication. Like yeast in dough, joy expands everything it encounters. Your outer world mirrors your inner state with perfect accuracy. When you choose joy, even in challenging moments, you tune to the frequency of miracles. This isn't about forcing false happiness. It's about finding genuine delight in the unfolding of life itself. The practice. Perform one daily task with exaggerated cheer. Sing if you burn toast. Laugh lovingly at spilled milk. Let joy bubble up naturally, even in imperfect moments. The universe echoes your laughter back as fortunate coincidence, transforming ordinary moments into celebrations of divine connection. Chapter 17. The Harmony of Action. In the early morning hours when the world still slumbered, Nora stood motionless before her studio mirror. For months she had studied spiritual texts, meditated faithfully, and crafted elaborate vision boards of her dreams. Yet something felt incomplete, like a song waiting for its chorus. Through the window, she noticed a leaf caught in a gentle breeze. Though the leaf appeared to float aimlessly, it moved in perfect harmony with the wind's invisible current. In that moment, Nora understood. The universe speaks through motion. The truth rings clear. Manifestation requires movement. Just as a river must flow to remain pure, your intentions must dance into physical form. When you align thought with action, you complete the circuit of creation. Many souls sit in silence, waiting for dreams to materialize, while the universe waits for them to take the first step. Your thoughts generate the signal, but your actions amplify it. Each step forward broadcasts your commitment to the universal field. This is why inspiration often arrives as an impulse to move, a subtle urge to reach out, to begin, to create. The universe speaks in the language of motion. Consider how a seed contains all potential, yet must break through its shell to flower. Similarly, your dreams hold infinite possibility, but require movement to bloom. This movement need not be grand. Even small actions, when aligned with intention, ripple through the fabric of reality. One evening, while contemplating her next performance, Nora felt a sudden urge to dance without music. Instead of analyzing this impulse, she simply followed it. Her body moved in ways she had never planned, expressing something beyond thought. The next morning, a choreographer called, seeking exactly the fresh perspective Nora had embodied in her spontaneous dance. This illustrates a fundamental truth. When you act on divine impulse, you allow the universe to move through you. Your physical motion becomes a prayer in action, a demonstration of faith more powerful than any affirmation spoken in stillness. The body becomes an instrument of manifestation when aligned with higher purpose. Each gesture broadcasts your intention to the universal field. Through movement, you ground spiritual energy into physical form, transforming thought into tangible reality. The practice. When feeling inspired, take one concrete step immediately. If an idea excites you, act on it within the hour. Make that call, write that first sentence, or take that initial step. Action affirms belief. Belief amplifies response. Let your body become the bridge between inspiration and manifestation, dancing your dreams into reality. Chapter 18. the voice of the now. In a bustling radio station, Harvey sat before his microphone, perpetually checking the clock. His mind raced between segments, worrying about upcoming interviews while replaying past shows. Despite his technical expertise in frequencies, something felt misaligned, a persistent static in his spiritual reception. One morning, as he prepared to go live, the studio clock stopped. For a moment, Harvey froze, unsure how to pace his show without time markers. Then something extraordinary happened. Freed from clock watching, he found himself fully immersed in each word, each breath, each moment of connection with his listeners. The quality of his broadcast transformed, touching hearts in ways his carefully planned segments never had. The universe operates solely in the present moment. Like a radio signal that exists only in the now, divine communication flows through the eternal present. When your attention scatters between past regrets and future anxieties, you tune out of this pristine frequency. Your consciousness is the receiver, but it must be set to now to capture the clearest signal. The past exists as memory, the future as imagination. Only the present moment carries the live broadcast of divine wisdom. This truth becomes evident when you observe nature. A flower blooms now, a bird sings now, the sun shines now. All of creation operates in perfect presence. During one particular broadcast, Harvey noticed his guest becoming agitated about time constraints. Rather than jumping ahead in his mind, he brought his full attention to the current moment. In that space of presence, the interview naturally found its rhythm, and insights flowed effortlessly. This simple shift revealed a profound truth. When you fully inhabit the present moment, you align with the God frequency. Time anxiety dissolves, replaced by a deep knowing that all unfolds in divine order. The present moment is your point of power, the only place where transformation is possible. Many seek spiritual connection through complex practices, yet the clearest channel opens through simple presence. Like tuning to a radio station, you need only adjust your attention to now. In this moment, free from past static and future interference, divine wisdom speaks with perfect clarity. The practice. Whenever distracted, whisper, "Now," and feel your breath. That single awareness reattunes you instantly to cosmic conversation. Chapter 19. The Circuit of Compassion. In the pre-dawn hours, Tess arrived at a chaotic accident scene. While others rushed frantically, she moved with steady grace, her presence creating an invisible sphere of calm. The injured driver, trapped and terrified, felt his panic subside the moment Tess placed her hand on his shoulder. Without words, her touch transmitted peace, a frequency more potent than any medicine. The universe flows through open hearts. When you attune yourself to compassion's wavelength, you become a conduit for healing energy far beyond physical intervention. This truth manifests through those who have discovered that love isn't merely an emotion. It's a force field that transforms reality at the quantum level. Your heart generates an electromagnetic field that extends several feet beyond your body. This field interacts with everyone you encounter, either amplifying or diminishing their own frequency. When you consciously radiate compassion, you create a harmonic resonance that allows universal intelligence to work through you. Scientific studies have shown that heart coherence, a state of emotional balance and calm, can synchronize the cardiac rhythms of those nearby. This explains why certain individuals seem to carry an aura of healing. They've learned to broadcast the frequency of peace. One stormy night, Tess responded to a call that defied medical explanation. A child had stopped breathing, and by all conventional wisdom, too much time had passed. Yet as Tess cradled the small body, maintaining unwavering, compassionate focus, something shifted in the electromagnetic field between them. The child's heart suddenly resumed its rhythm as though responding to an invisible signal. Later, doctors would struggle to explain the recovery, but Tess understood that healing occurs first at the frequency level before manifesting physically. Her calm presence had simply created the energetic conditions for life to reassert itself. This miracle wasn't unique to Tess. It's available to anyone who learns to transmit the frequency of pure compassion. The key lies not in technique, but in the quality of your heart's broadcast. When you maintain steady loving kindness, especially amid chaos, you become an antenna for divine intervention. The power of this truth reveals itself in everyday moments: a gentle word that prevents violence, a caring touch that eases suffering, a peaceful presence that transforms fear into faith. Each act of compassion sends ripples through the quantum field, altering potential outcomes in ways logic cannot grasp. You need not be a healer by profession to wield this force. The universe requires only your willingness to remain heart-centered, especially when others lose their center. In doing so, you become a living transmitter of the highest frequency, unconditional love. The practice. Visualize pink light flowing outward from your heart to anyone in distress. Compassion becomes your transmitter and miracle ensues. Chapter 20. The Signature of the Soul. In a small monastery tucked away in the mountains, Ralph sat before pristine sheets of parchment, his calligraphy pen poised in hand. Each morning, he would transcribe ancient texts, but something felt missing in his perfectly formed letters. Though his technique was flawless, the words seemed lifeless, beautiful shells without spirit. One dawn, as sunlight streamed through stained glass, Ralph set aside the texts he was meant to copy. Instead, he began writing from his heart, his own prayers, his deepest truths. As his pen moved, the ink seemed to shimmer with inner light. The letters danced with vitality, each stroke pulsing with the rhythm of his soul. When you align with your authentic nature, you tap into a power that transcends mere skill. The universe recognizes and amplifies truth, while imitation, no matter how perfect, remains energetically hollow. Your unique frequency carries a divine signature that cannot be replicated or borrowed. In the marketplace weeks later, a merchant's daughter discovered one of Ralph's heartfelt writings. The words resonated so deeply that tears fell upon the page. That single authentic expression initiated a chain of transformations throughout the village, touching lives in ways Ralph's perfect copies never could. Your truth vibrates at a frequency that the universe itself celebrates. When you speak, write, or create from this genuine place, you participate in the original creative force that shaped existence. Every soul carries a unique note in the cosmic symphony. Trying to mimic another's song only mutes your essential contribution. The power of authenticity lies not in perfection, but in resonance. Your natural expression, unfiltered and unafraid, sends ripples through the fabric of reality that perfectly crafted pretense can never achieve. The universe responds not to polished performance, but to the raw honesty of your being. When you trust your inner voice, you broadcast on the frequency of truth itself. This signal cuts through the static of societal expectations and learned behaviors, reaching directly to the heart of divine creation. Your authentic expression becomes a living prayer, each gesture a sacred offering to the infinite. The practice. Declare aloud, I bless my own voice. Express one authentic thought today fearlessly. That sound is your soul's signature upon the universe. Part 3. The Embodiment of Divinity. Chapter 21. The Light You Radiate. In a small mountain village where mists cloaked the valleys each morning, Millie walked the winding paths between homes, carrying her midwife's bag and a heart full of reverence. For 30 years she had witnessed the first breaths of new souls entering the world. Yet each birth remained sacred, a moment when heaven touched earth. One stormy night, as thunder shook the hills, Millie sat with a laboring mother whose fear matched the tempest outside. Rather than offering words, Millie simply held the space with unwavering peace. As she centered herself in divine trust, something extraordinary occurred. The mother's anxiety dissolved, her breathing steadied, and remarkably, even the storm seemed to gentle its rage. This is the hidden power of your energetic presence. Each thought, each feeling you carry creates ripples in the universal field that extends far beyond your physical reach. When you align with the frequency of love and service, you become a living lighthouse, unconsciously guiding others toward their own inner calm. Like drops in an infinite ocean, your vibration merges with the collective consciousness. A single moment of genuine peace can travel through the etheric web, touching lives you'll never meet, healing hearts you'll never know. This is the mystery of interconnection, the truth that we are all threads in the same cosmic tapestry. Later that year, during a particularly challenging birth, Millie found herself overwhelmed. Instead of struggling, she surrendered to divine guidance, allowing universal wisdom to flow through her. In that moment of pure trust, not only did the birth unfold with unexpected ease, but other midwives across the village reported their own deliveries becoming remarkably smooth, though none knew of the others' experiences. This illustrates a profound truth. Your individual state of being influences the whole. When you maintain inner light, you contribute to the illumination of all. Like Millie, you need not strive to change the world through grand gestures. Simply by holding steady in your own peace, you become a channel for divine harmony. Your presence matters more than you realize. Each smile, each moment of patience, each breath of compassion sends waves of healing through the collective field. You are never truly alone in your actions. Every choice to remain in love, despite chaos, reverberates through the infinite web of creation. The practice. Visualize yourself as a sunbeam, blessing every room you enter, simple, radiant, unstoppable. Chapter 22. The Rhythm of Trust. In a weathered fishing village where salt-laden winds whispered ancient secrets, a fisherman named Lou battled the waves each dawn. His hands gripped the wheel too tightly, his mind churned like the restless sea beneath him. Though skilled in his craft, anxiety haunted his voyages. each expedition marked by the weight of worry rather than the lightness of trust. Day after day, Lou scanned the horizon with furrowed brows, calculating, planning, fighting against nature's flow. His nets returned half empty, his spirit even emptier, until one morning, exhausted from resistance, he released his white-knuckled grip on expectations. The sea speaks in the language of surrender. As you release the need to control life's currents, you discover the divine rhythm that has always carried you. Like Lou, you may believe that struggle ensures success, that vigilance guarantees victory. Yet the universe operates through trust, not tension. When you align with the great flow, abundance arrives not through force, but through faith. Your role is not to wrestle with reality, but to attune to its wisdom. Every wave of worry that crashes against your consciousness dims the signal of divine guidance. Each moment of surrender brightens it. In the depth of dawn, several weeks after his surrender, Lou experienced the power of alignment. Rather than fighting the sea's rhythm, he began to breathe with it. His hands loosened on the wheel, his thoughts cleared like morning mist. Suddenly, an inexplicable knowing washed over him, a gentle but certain pull toward a particular spot in the vast blue expanse. Without questioning, he followed this silent guidance. There, in waters he'd never favored before, his nets filled with such abundance that his small boat could barely contain the catch. This wasn't luck. It was the natural result of tuning in to the frequency of trust. The universe speaks constantly through the quiet voice of intuition. When you still the storms of doubt, you hear it clearly. Like Lou, you discover that prosperity flows not from pushing against life, but from moving in harmony with its sacred current. The practice: repeat softly, "I trust the tide." Feel anxiety dissolve as interior waters smooth. Submission becomes your song. This practice teaches the grace of surrender. When you repeat softly, "I trust the tide," you are affirming your faith in life's unseen intelligence, the rhythm that pulls and releases, brings and removes, all according to a wisdom vaster than your own. The repetition is not mere words. It's an entrainment, a tuning of your nervous system to the cadence of acceptance. As your voice aligns with the phrase, control begins to loosen its grip, and the currents of being resume their natural flow. As you continue, feel anxiety dissolve, not forced away, but gently unwound by the truth of your trust. The body softens, breath deepens, and the interior waters smooth into clarity. Each wave of emotion becomes less a disturbance and more a reminder that motion is part of peace. Within this yielding, you discover that surrender is not defeat, but participation in the greater movement, the eternal ebb and flow through which creation renews itself. Eventually, submission becomes your song, a melody born not from resignation, but from harmony. To live in this way is to dance with the tides rather than resist them. You begin to feel that every rise and fall, every beginning and ending, carries its own quiet perfection. The current no longer threatens, it carries you. In that realization, you find your true rhythm, a song the ocean of existence has been waiting to sing through you. Chapter 23. The Infinite Conversation. In a sunlit attic where dust motes danced like whispered prayers, a poet named Petra sat with her journal unopened. For years she had poured her supplications onto paper, sending words upward like doves released into silence. Yet something shifted the morning she noticed how the light fell across her desk, not in random patterns, but in what seemed a response to her morning meditation. Through an ancient window, she watched a leaf spiral down, landing precisely as she pondered a verse about surrender. Such moments multiplied, a bird's song punctuating her final line, wind rustling chapters to reveal exactly the words she needed. These were not coincidences, but conversations. When you speak to the universe, it answers through the language of life itself. Every synchronicity that crosses your path carries divine reply. The rustling leaves, the chance encounter, the sudden insight, these are not random events, but responses to your deepest questions. Prayer is not a monologue, but a dialogue, an eternal conversation between consciousness and creation. Like radio waves invisibly connecting distant points, your thoughts travel through the fabric of existence. Each sincere question sets in motion waves of response. The universe's answers come not in thunderous proclamation, but in subtle whispers, gentle nudges, and meaningful coincidences that some might dismiss as chance. One autumn evening, Petra received a letter from a reader who had discovered her published poems. The stranger described experiencing identical moments to those Petra had written about, the same cardinal appearing at a crucial moment, the same song playing at precisely the right time. As more letters arrived, she realized her private dialogue with the divine had created ripples, touching others in ways that mirrored her own experience. Her verses had become bridges, connecting separate lives through shared moments of grace. What began as personal prayer expanded into a web of synchronized experiences, proving that when one heart opens to divine dialogue, many hearts respond in harmony. This is the nature of spiritual communication, not a one-way transmission, but an endless circle of call and response. Creation itself is the ongoing answer to every prayer ever whispered. Your role is not merely to speak, but to listen, not just to ask, but to receive. The universe's voice echoes in every moment of meaningful coincidence, every unexpected solution, every spontaneous revelation that arrives precisely when needed. The practice. After each prayer, sit silently and note any subtle thought or image. That's the universe completing its sentence with you. This practice transforms prayer from a one-way offering into a living dialogue. When you sit silently after each prayer, you create space for the echo, the soft return of energy that follows every intention sent into the vastness. Prayer, in its essence, is both expression and listening. Your words or feelings set the tone, but the silence that follows allows the infinite to respond. In that stillness, the sacred conversation continues, not through language, but through vibration, intuition, and imagery. When you note any subtle thought or image, you honor the whispering intelligence that moves beneath ordinary awareness. These fleeting impressions are not random. They are the universe's gentle punctuation, its way of completing what your heart began. A flash of color, a remembered face, a quiet sentence arriving from nowhere, each carries the resonance of a reply, guiding your awareness toward deeper understanding. The practice is not to analyze, but to receive, as one might receive sunlight on skin, fully, wordlessly. In time, you come to recognize that the universe is always completing its sentence with you, through synchronicities, emotions, sensations, and dreams. Every prayer is a duet, every silence an exchange. By remaining open to these subtle responses, You attune yourself to the ongoing communication between your finite self and the infinite source that breathes through you. Prayer then ceases to be a request and becomes a co-creation, the sacred language of unity, spoken in the stillness of your being. Chapter 24. The Body as Antenna. Through the valleys of an ancient mountain range, a yoga teacher named Roy guided his students with gentle wisdom. Each morning, as dawn painted the sky in hues of possibility, he observed how a simple shift in posture could transform one's entire perspective. When shoulders dropped from ears, wisdom flowed more freely. When spines lengthened, courage rose naturally. One crisp morning, as Roy moved through his personal practice, he noticed how each pose revealed a different facet of universal truth. In forward folds, he received insights about humility. In backbends, his heart opened to divine messages about trust. Standing poses grounded him in certainty, while inversions shifted his perspective on challenging situations. The body, he realized, was not merely a vessel but a living antenna, continuously receiving and translating the frequency of the infinite. Your physical form serves as the most sophisticated instrument for detecting divine vibration. Each cell resonates with cosmic intelligence. Each muscle fiber conducts universal energy. When you move with awareness, you activate this sacred circuitry. Your spine becomes a lightning rod for divine inspiration, your heart a receiver for celestial frequencies. In the bustling marketplace of a nearby town, Roy encountered an elderly woman struggling with chronic pain. Rather than offering complex philosophical teachings, he simply showed her how to stand differently, shoulders back, crown lifted, heart open. Within moments, tears filled her eyes as she experienced not just physical relief, but a profound sense of connection to something greater. Her body had become a tuning fork, vibrating in harmony with divine presence. This transformation reveals a fundamental truth. The body is not separate from spirit, but rather its most immediate expression. Every ache signals a blocked frequency. Every ease of tension marks a return to divine flow. The physical form you inhabit is your personal temple, broadcasting station, and receiving dish all at once. When you treat your body with reverence, it responds by heightening its receptivity to divine guidance. Each mindful movement becomes a prayer, each conscious breath a conversation with the infinite. Your posture affects not just how you feel, but how clearly you perceive the whispers of universal wisdom. The practice. Before retiring each night, stretch your body gently and purposefully. As you do, express gratitude to each part of your physical form. Thank you, feet, for carrying me forward. Thank you, hands, for creating and giving. Thank you, heart, for beating in rhythm with divine love. Feel how this appreciation creates a tangible shift in your energy field, aligning body and soul into one clear channel for cosmic communication. Chapter 25. The Gift of Silence. In the gentle embrace of dawn, while her household slept, Esther discovered a sacred truth. Rising before the sun, she would sit by her kitchen window, watching darkness dissolve into light. At first, these moments felt like stolen luxuries, precious minutes carved from her demanding role as mother and caretaker. Yet, as days passed, she noticed something extraordinary in these quiet moments. The silence wasn't empty at all. It held a richness that words could never capture. Like a vessel filling with golden light, each morning's stillness poured wisdom into her being. Through this wordless communion, She learned to distinguish between the chatter of her mind and the clear guidance of the universe. In these moments of pure receptivity, the God frequency reveals itself not as sound, but as presence. Every breath becomes a conversation with the divine, every heartbeat a reminder of your connection to the infinite. When you release the need to fill space with noise, you discover that silence itself speaks volumes. This truth became evident when Esther's family faced a crisis. Her husband lost his job, their savings dwindled, and fear threatened to overwhelm their home. But in her morning stillness, Esther received clear guidance. Instead of frantically searching for solutions, she maintained her practice of silent communion. One such morning, as sunlight painted her kitchen in amber hues, she felt an unmistakable knowing. Without doubt or hesitation, she guided her family to move to a small town they'd never considered. This decision, born from silent wisdom rather than logical planning, led them to unexpected prosperity. Her husband found fulfilling work, their children thrived in new schools, and their lives transformed in ways they couldn't have imagined. The universe speaks most clearly in silence. When you quiet external noise, internal wisdom rises like morning mist, revealing pathways previously hidden. This is the language of love, not spoken in words, but felt in the heart's quiet knowing. The ancient practice. Spend 10 minutes daily without words or devices. Find a space where you won't be interrupted as day breaks or night falls. Let your breath become your only focus. Notice how peace rises naturally, like morning sunlight streaming through windows. This is the God frequency in its purest form, the divine silence that speaks volumes. Feel how resistance dissolves, leaving only clear guidance in its wake. Chapter 26. The Radiance of Service. In a bustling office building, Walt moved through empty halls in pre-dawn quiet, pushing his cleaning cart with an air of reverence. To others, he was merely the night janitor, but Walt had stumbled upon a truth that transformed his work into worship. Each evening, as he polished the brass railings, he whispered blessings into the metal. While vacuuming carpet paths between cubicles, he imagined drawing negativity from the space, replacing it with light. His mop became a paintbrush of peace, leaving invisible trails of harmony in its wake. The universe speaks through the simplest acts when performed with pure devotion. Your position matters far less than your disposition, for it is not what you do, but the love you pour into doing it that creates ripples in the cosmic field. When you infuse mundane moments with sacred intention, you transform ordinary space into holy ground. Every task becomes an opportunity to broadcast healing frequencies into the world. The divine current flows not through grand gestures, but through steady dedication to whatever lies before you. One morning, Walt noticed something extraordinary. Workers arriving for their day seemed different, lighter, brighter somehow. They smiled more easily, worked more harmoniously. Without knowing why, they felt uplifted in spaces he had blessed through his mindful service. His silent ministry had shifted the entire building's energy. The second-floor accountant remarked that her office felt cleaner than clean. A lawyer on the 5th floor said he could think more clearly at his desk. None connected these changes to Walt's devotional practice, yet the effects rippled outward, touching hundreds of lives. This simple truth illuminates the way. When ego dissolves into service, you become a clear channel for grace. Your humblest tasks gain profound purpose. The position you hold matters less than the presence you bring to it. The practice. Approach ordinary chores as rituals of blessing, each sweep or wash releasing luminous energy into the world. Feel divine light flowing through your hands as you fold laundry, prepare meals, or tidy spaces. Let every action become a prayer of service, knowing that loving attention transforms both the work and the worker. Chapter 27. The Mosaic of Oneness. In a sunlit studio, Ida gathered fragments of colored glass and broken pottery, each shard carrying its own story of fracture and renewal. As her hands moved across the pieces, she began to understand that what appeared as damage held hidden potential for beauty. One morning, while working on a commission for a temple, Ida found herself struggling with a collection of mismatched fragments. The colors clashed, the shapes refused to align, and frustration mounted in her chest. Yet as she stepped back to survey her work, a shaft of morning light struck the pieces, transforming discord into radiance. In that moment, she glimpsed the deeper truth. Perfection lives within apparent chaos. The universe speaks this truth through every pattern of existence. What you perceive as broken merely awaits its place in a grander design. Each shard of experience, the disappointments, the failures, the moments of loss, serves as essential pieces in your soul's mosaic. When you resist these fragments, declaring them wrong or unwanted, you deny their sacred purpose in completing your picture. Consider how light requires shadow to reveal its brilliance. Joy becomes meaningful through knowing sorrow. Strength emerges from weakness. These are not opposing forces, but complementary aspects of one infinite expression. The universe does not create fragments. It creates wholeness, expressing itself through apparent division. Acceptance transforms perception. When you embrace each piece of your journey, the smooth and jagged alike, you align with the artistry of divine intelligence. Your life becomes a living mosaic, where every experience finds its perfect place in the pattern. A year after her revelation, Ida received another commission, this time for a community center recovering from natural disaster. As she worked, she incorporated fragments from the destroyed building into her design. Each broken piece carried memories of loss, yet when assembled with love, they told a story of resilience and renewal. The local residents who first resisted using the debris in the artwork stood transfixed when the installation was unveiled. In the broken pieces of their past, they discovered a new kind of beauty, one born from accepting and transforming what seemed irredeemably shattered. This truth extends beyond art into the fabric of existence itself. Every challenge you face, every contrast you encounter, serves the emergence of greater wholeness. The universe never creates wounds without also creating the possibility for healing. In that healing, new beauty emerges, beauty that could not exist without the initial breaking. Your journey through life is a sacred act of mosaic making. Each experience, whether judged as positive or negative, adds its necessary color and texture to your soul's expanding masterpiece. When you learn to see with the eyes of the heart, you recognize that nothing is truly broken. Everything is becoming. The practice. Find a quiet moment and reflect on one challenge you've overcome. Rather than seeing it as a scar to hide, thank it for shaping your unique expression of being. Visualize yourself as a divine mosaic where every piece, including the broken ones, contributes to your radiant wholeness. Let gratitude fill you as you recognize the perfect pattern of your life. Chapter 28. The Law of Light Return. Along a quiet street, a mail carrier named Frank walked his daily route, each step marking the rhythm of neighborhood life. Beyond delivering letters, he carried something far more precious, an understanding of life's invisible circulation. One autumn morning, Frank noticed an elderly woman struggling to retrieve her mail. Without hesitation, he guided her trembling hands to the mailbox, steadying her arm. The next day, to his amazement, a young boy who had witnessed this act helped another stranger carry groceries, mentioning that Frank's kindness had inspired him. The universe operates through this sacred principle of circulation. Every act of kindness sets in motion waves of energy that ripple outward, touching shores you cannot see. Like a letter finding its way across vast distances, compassion always reaches its destination, often returning to its sender in unexpected forms. Frank discovered that small gestures, a genuine smile, remembering someone's name, or taking time to listen, created shifts in the community's atmosphere. Where neighbors once passed in silence, greetings began to flow. Gardens that had withered from neglect suddenly found willing hands to tend them. The street's entire mood transformed, as though kindness had written a new story in invisible ink. In the heart of winter, Frank found himself delayed by snow. Rather than hurrying past, he cleared several elderly residents' walkways. That afternoon, when his delivery truck became stuck in a drift, dozens of neighbors emerged to help, many whom he had assisted in small ways over the years. This was not mere coincidence, but the law of circulation made manifest. Your actions carry a vibrational signature that echoes through the quantum field of existence. Each kindness released becomes a seed planted in fertile universal soil. These seeds grow silently, often flowering in unexpected seasons and places. The universe keeps precise accounts, not to measure, but to multiply. When you give freely, without attachment to recognition or return, you align with the cosmic current of infinite good. This alignment amplifies your transmission, allowing greater blessings to flow through you. Like Frank, you become a conduit for divine circulation, a point where heaven's kindness touches earth. The practice. Offer one secret kindness today, expecting nothing. The ripple will locate you again, luminous and multiplied. This practice is a quiet act of alchemy. When you offer one secret kindness, unseen and unannounced, you move beyond the realm of transaction into the pure frequency of giving. There is no witness, no applause, only the silent joy of participation in love's circulation. Such hidden gestures refine the soul. They dissolve ego's need for recognition and awaken the deeper pleasure of contributing to the unseen harmony that sustains all things. To expect nothing is to stand in the true posture of abundance. In that emptiness, the heart becomes vast enough to receive the fullness of what already is. Every act of kindness, like a stone dropped into still water, generates concentric ripples that extend far beyond your sight. Yet, it is not the outer wave that matters most, but the transformation within you, the softening, the lightening, the remembering that you are both giver and gift. And when the ripple locates you again, it returns not as a reward, but as recognition. Life, in its luminous intelligence, mirrors back the vibration you released. You find yourself unexpectedly blessed, not by chance, but by the rhythm of reciprocity that governs the cosmos. In this cycle of secret giving and radiant return, your light multiplies quietly, becoming part of the invisible grace that moves the world. Chapter 29. The Sacred Ordinary. In a bustling supermarket where fluorescent lights cast their steady glow, Lena stood behind her register, witnessing a truth that had eluded her for years. As she scanned items, apples, bread, milk, each beep became a heartbeat of the universe, a pulse of divine presence hiding in plain sight. One morning, while arranging oranges in their display, Lena noticed how sunlight through the window transformed ordinary fruit into spheres of living gold. In that moment, she understood. Divinity wasn't reserved for temples or mountain peaks. It breathed in every mundane motion, every simple exchange. The universe speaks through the ordinary, whispering its secrets in the rhythm of routine. When you attune your awareness to this truth, even the simplest actions reveal their sacred nature. Each breath becomes a prayer, each gesture an offering to the infinite. This is not about transforming the mundane. It's about recognizing that nothing was ever truly mundane to begin with. As you move through your days, remember that holiness doesn't descend from above. It emerges from within your recognition. The sacred isn't waiting in some distant future or far-off place. It pulses in this very moment, in the space between your thoughts, in the pause between your breaths. Lena discovered this truth again one winter afternoon. The store was crowded, lines growing longer, yet something had shifted in her perception. As she rang up purchases, she began silently blessing each price she entered, each item she handled, each person she served. Soon, customers who had arrived, irritated, began to soften, their faces brightening with unexplained warmth. Without knowing why, they left carrying not just groceries, but a touch of grace. This simple story unveils an eternal truth. When you recognize the divine in the ordinary transforms, not through any outer change, but through the alchemy of your perception. What appears mundane is merely spirit in disguise, waiting for your recognition to reveal its true nature. The practice: pause mid-task, smile, whisper, "This moment is sacred." Feel vibration rise. Heaven meets earth in that instant. This practice invites reverence into the ordinary. When you pause mid-task, you break the trance of momentum and step into timeless awareness. The simple act of smiling softens resistance within the body and heart. It's a signal to the universe that you remember your belonging, even amidst motion. As you whisper, "This moment is sacred," you reframe the present not as something to rush through, but as a living altar of awareness where every action, even the smallest, becomes an offering. As you let that phrase vibrate in your chest, feel the current of energy rising through you. It's subtle yet unmistakable, a resonance that connects breath to cosmos, heartbeat to horizon. That rising vibration is life recognizing itself through you, an upward flow that merges intention with presence. You are not merely pausing from the world. You are re-entering it with awakened perception. In that very instant, heaven meets earth, not as distant realms, but as the meeting of your highest consciousness with embodied life. The divine descends through awareness, and the material ascends through reverence. Each pause becomes a bridge, each breath a temple doorway. Through this practice, you learn that holiness isn't found elsewhere. It's revealed precisely in the heartbeat of now. Chapter 30. The God Frequency. In the concert hall's curved embrace, Cal sat before the grand piano, his fingers hovering above ivory keys. Through decades of performances, he had mastered complex symphonies, yet only now did he grasp the deeper melody, that life itself was an endless orchestra conducted by divine intelligence. Every heartbeat carried rhythm, every breath held harmony. Even in moments of apparent discord, Cal recognized the universe composing through all circumstances. When anxiety struck before performances, he learned to breathe with it, rather than fight against it. When inspiration flowed, he allowed it to move through him without attachment. Each experience became a note in the cosmic score. You too are part of this grand symphony. Every thought you think, every word you speak, joins the universal chorus. When you resist life's flow, you create dissonance. When you align with what is, you become an instrument of grace. The God frequency isn't something to achieve. It's what you already are when you stop trying to play a different song than the one unfolding naturally through you. During his final concert, Cal took his place on stage as usual, but instead of launching into the planned concerto, he sat in complete stillness. The audience shifted uncomfortably at first, then gradually settled into the profound silence. In that space between notes, they felt it, the pure presence that undergirds all sound. Cal had learned that true mastery wasn't about adding more noise to the world, but about becoming so attuned that you could hear the music of existence itself. Just as a single string vibrates in harmony with others nearby, your consciousness resonates with the infinite field of divine intelligence. You don't need to force this connection. It's your natural state. When you release resistance to what is, you become like that silent concert hall filled with unspoken power. The most sublime music emerges not from effort, but from surrender. When you align with the God frequency, you become both the instrument and the musician, both the song and the silence from which it arises. Your very being becomes a note in the divine symphony. The practice. Stand quietly. Inhale gratitude. Exhale light. Imagine you are both the note and the listener. You have become the frequency itself. This practice embodies the sacred union of awareness and vibration. When you inhale gratitude, you draw into yourself the remembrance of life's endless giving, every breath, every heartbeat, a gift already received. Gratitude tunes your inner field, refining the instrument through which consciousness expresses. As you exhale light, you release this refined energy back into the world, offering illumination without effort, simply through your being. To imagine you are both the note and the listener is to transcend separation, to dissolve the boundary between expression and perception. In this space, there is no outside or inside, only the resonant hum of existence hearing itself. This realization turns each breath, each thought, each gesture into part of a universal symphony. You begin to perceive that sound and silence, motion and stillness, are all threads of the same melody. When you understand that you have become the frequency itself, you awaken to your true nature as vibration in form, consciousness vibrating through flesh, thought, and emotion. In this awareness, harmony replaces striving. You no longer chase alignment, you are alignment. Every cell in your being becomes a luminous tone contributing to the greater cosmic chord, forever playing the music of creation. If you enjoyed this audiobook, I created a free ebook version for you. You can download it using the link in the pinned comment. Conclusion: the journey through. The God frequency closes, but its melody continues endlessly. You now understand that the universe was never silent. Its voice awaited your attuned hearing. Through each chapter, each teaching, each practice, you've uncovered what was always present: the divine broadcast, flowing through every moment. Awareness transforms life from accident to artistry, from static to song. Where once you heard chaos, you now perceive harmony. Where you once saw coincidence, you recognize divine orchestration. The sacred frequency reveals itself in the quiet dawn, in a stranger's smile, in the rhythm of your own breathing. The messages within these chapters were not lessons to memorize, but vibrations to embody, remembrances of your inherent divinity. Each parable, each meditation, each practice served as a tuning fork, aligning you with your natural state of grace. You've discovered that manifestation isn't forcing, but flowing, not commanding, but allowing. The God frequency is not something to reach. It was the beat within you all along, patiently waiting for recognition. Like a radio that was always playing, you needed only to adjust your dial to the right station. Your thoughts, emotions, and actions are now instruments in the universal symphony. As you walk forward, every heartbeat becomes a message, every breath a broadcast, every act an echo of love returning home. You are both transmitter and receiver in the grand network of creation, forever connected, forever radiant, forever divine.
If you enjoyed this exclusive audiobook, I handpicked this next book which will change your life.